I'm sure many of you have heard about herd mentality before, and even though not many people like to admit it, we tend to conform to the behavior or actions of a larger group, often without questioning or critically evaluating the decision. This tendency to follow the crowd, while sometimes beneficial in social context, can lead to irrational decisions in situations like investing and trading, where independent thinking and analysis are absolutely crucial for success. Today, we will be talking about how following our natural instincts is keeping you away from trading success. I am Agnieszka Wood, and this is the Confidence in Trading podcast. Welcome to episode number 21, Going Against the Trend to Win. And I know what you might be thinking right now. I said myself so many times, follow the trend or go with the flow. And that is still true in the context of following the market, the price movement. But if we look at how most traders behave and the success rate under 10% in trading overall, you must understand that in order to win, you need to do something different than the rest, right? And I know it's not easy because we have this herd instinct that is driven by several factors. First, it provides us with sense of safety and belonging because it just simply makes us feel more secure when we are in agreement with others. Second, there is a fear of missing out, the very well known to all traders FOMO, where we worry about being left behind or excluded from potential benefits. And on top of that, the social pressure and the desire to fit in play a significant role. You may simply conform to avoid social isolation or criticism. In trading, considering how uncertain the environment is, it is even more difficult to deal with that pressure, especially if you have been failing for a while and do not have confidence in your own decisions. It's very easy to fall for following another trader with his hot tip for something to trade, or even if some other trader expresses his opinion about the trade that you might be in. So it is very easy for us to copy other behaviors of traders who have been in the market for much longer and very often finding ourselves on the losing side because you never know what the other trader is thinking, what his plan is. So just following blindly someone else just because you feel insecure about your own decisions or you simply want to know what other people are thinking. Keep in mind that if you are asking for opinions of other traders, take it simply as opinions because nobody really knows what the stock is going to do. And predicting the future is a great ambition of every trader, which only creates a false expectation. And if you're making your decisions based on that, you know how this is going to end. So, copying behaviors of others can really lead to devastating consequences. So, the problem begins already when people get into the field of trading. The initial expectation of what you need to know in order to make money pretty much tells you you just require some technical analysis, you need a strategy, and knowing when to get in, knowing when to get out, risk management, few setups, and you just begin. So every trader starts thinking the same and hoping that with time he is eventually going to be profitable. Everyone also knows that you will lose money, right? You are prepared for that. And then when you take a loss, you consider it a normal thing. And I'm not talking about just taking losses during trading, I'm talking about the unexpected losses or losing the account. Basically, losses due to inability to control your behavior, to control your emotions. Most traders are considering it as normal, and instead of putting attention at the cause of the loss, it is kind of brushed under the table because it's normal, right? You are supposed to take big losses and eventually it will stop. But if you have been trading for a while, you know that something like that does not stop by itself. Repeating behaviors that are not in your interest in trading are creating bad trading habits. And the longer you do them, the longer you repeat those behaviors, the harder it becomes to eradicate them. So, doing the same thing over and over again is definitely not working in your advantage, and doing the same what everyone else is doing is also not good for you. Because if only a small percentage of traders are the winners, what do you think you should be doing? Who do you think you should be modeling instead of doing what the 90% is thinking and doing? Successful traders dare to go against the trend. So, in order to win in trading, you must differentiate yourself from the herd. So, you must go against the trend. And I'm talking about the general trend of how things are done, how all traders are behaving. So, let's talk a little bit about the human nature. The human nature in trading shows itself very well with um, emotions. So, human nature often triggers emotional responses in the trading environment, such as, for example, fight or flight response, which kicks in when we see the market moving against us. So, the automatic response, your natural response, would be to fight it, right? And that can lead to impulsive decisions like panic selling or doubling down on your losing position. But most traders are following their human nature because it is just so easy to fall for those triggers, especially if you are not aware of what is happening. And most traders are not, because in order to be aware of something like that, you have to do some sort of self discovery work and be willing to look at who am I as a trader? Who am I as a person? What you are doing wrong? What is the reason that you are failing? So, really, to be able to deal with this kind of responses, or rather, not being reactive, you really have to try to sort of fight human nature, so to say. So your natural fight or flight response is often triggering a protection mechanism that simply makes you protect yourself, right? You want a flight to safety, but market is not a safe environment, and you are exposing yourself to that environment on purpose. So if you are not prepared for it, so you cannot be surprised that automatic responses are going to kick in. So overcoming these responses, the human nature, so to say, is really essential for successful trading. And implementing risk management techniques like setting stop loss orders in order to control losses is one of the simplest tool to do that. Now, there's a lot of reasons why traders don't do it, and mostly it is because how they are talking themselves out of it. We have this wonderful mind that is trying to find all kinds of ways to talk us out of basically exposing ourselves to unpleasant experiences, to pain. And obviously, if you set a stop loss, that comes with a loss, right? Because if you get stopped out, you will lose money. So you will do everything to protect yourself from it. And that's why you need to start working on your thinking. Because if you know that on a subconscious level, on a deeper level, you will be protecting yourself from the loss, and your mechanism, automatic mechanism, is going to kick in. Your human nature is going to try to protect you from a loss. The only way that you can do that is if you reframe the way that you see losses, if you change your perspective on how you experience losses. And that happens on the level of your thinking, that happens on the level of your mind. So, sort of a reprogramming of your mind is necessary for you to be able to combat your human nature. You can have the most beautiful trading plan with predefined entries and exit points and trying to reduce your emotions or become completely immune to emotions and force yourself to do that by discipline. But if your thinking is not aligned with how the market is working and what with the dynamics of the market, this will be completely pointless because when it comes to the decision of danger, your human nature is going to kick in. And with danger, I mean when you are in a situation to lose money. So, changing your thinking, by changing your thinking, changing your behavior, changing your responses, this is really, it sounds very easy, just change your thinking, but it goes pretty deep because that means that you have to start thinking completely different than you have been so far. And a lot of perspectives that we have in our life, they are working for us in our life. So it's kind of even hard to imagine, okay, where am I going to start? What has to be different? If you look at your trading results and you see that you have been repeating certain mistakes over and over again, that would be the best place to start to try to analyze and think about what is it exactly that makes me do this? How am I talking myself into certain behavior, or how am I talking myself out of certain behavior? Like, what is my perspective? What am I really thinking about it? Do that completely autonomic from anyone else. So, not what you should be thinking, not what all the books are saying what you should be thinking. Just see what is. What are you really thinking? And you see, that part is sort of a confrontation with yourself, and not everyone dares to do that. And that's exactly why most traders are rather going back into the books on technical analysis and end up repeating the same mistake because they will not find those answers in the books. The reason why you're doing what you're doing is inside of you and not in the book. Every single trader has to find out for himself, what is it that makes me do this? What is it that makes me act against my best interest? What is it that I am afraid of? What am I afraid of to lose? What am I trying to prove? All those questions are needing a deep reflection and time to find the answer for yourself. Finding the answers will help you to accept the losses. Not so much accepting that you are losing, but accepting the fact that losses are part of trading. And it will help you avoid overreacting because every time when you lose, every time that something happens that brings you in a state of stress, is activating your emotional response, is activating the protection mechanism, and is activating your fight or flight response. So your human nature comes into play. And when you can get yourself to the point of changing your perspective on trading and everything that is happening during the trading process to the point of It's normal, and there is no need to be afraid, no need to overreact, and start building the process that you can trust. There is no need for those mechanisms to kick in. And when you know what is triggering them, it will be also easier for you to step out of it. Being patient with yourself and cultivating discipline to build that resilience, the psychological resilience, will really help you to stay the course if the times are difficult, and to cultivate the psychological discipline and patience. You have to start building discipline in your daily life. So, discipline of doing, discipline of thinking, and discipline in every other area of your life, because that will translate to how you trade pretty much 101. It is really the discipline to make sure that you are mentally and physically sound, that you take care of yourself and your overall well being. Always acting in your best interest is such a basic principle that, when implemented properly in your daily life, will translate into trading and give you great results. Not many people in general, not just traders, act in their best interest all the time. If you implement the principle of acting always in your best interest, that will change your whole perspective on how you trade. But for that, you have to take yourself seriously and you have to commit to what you really want. Because if you are saying one thing and you say, yeah, I want to be successful, but then that's pretty much all you're doing, then you are not walking your talk. You are doing what the rest is doing, right? Integrity is such an important thing, but not many people have integrity these days. And it's very easy to promise something and then just simply forget it. But it really starts with those little steps. And if you cannot hold yourself accountable to those small steps, how can you be able to hold yourself accountable to big steps? So start small, because when you take small steps, eventually you will make a long journey. So going against the trend, just like in trading, when you go against a trend, is a bold move in all kinds of ways, because you have to be courageous. You have to dare to do it. You have to dare to follow your own path. You have to make your own trading plan and then follow it without knowing if it's going to work. But that's why it's so important that you will have a plan and that you will test your strategy so that you can trust it. And if you can have the trust in your own plan and follow it, it's much easier to withstand the pressure and withstand the urge to go with the rest. Because why would you? If you have something that works and you see that what other people are doing is not working, what's your choice, right? It's a very easy choice. But if you don't have something on your side that you know, I have tested it, I have convinced myself it's working, I'm confident about it, it's very easy to say, you know what, I don't really know what I'm doing, I will just follow the rest. Just remember that profitability and consistency, it's not something that is coming automatically to you just because you have been repeating something for a long time. And a lot of traders are very consistent. Sometimes, they trade for 10 years and they're still not profitable. So they are very consistent in losing money or not making money. If you want to be consistently profitable, you have to start doing the right thing consistently as soon as possible. So the first step is learn how to trade, then learn how to be consistent, and do it in both areas, your life and trading, because they do overlap. When you are consistent in one, it is much easier to be consistent in the other. And then learn how to be profitable. and then trade more. Once you have those basic principles down, profit will follow. But the biggest part of it is doing something different than everyone else is doing. And in order to do that, you have to go against the trend of following others and get in the lead. Be ahead of everyone else. Be ahead of your own human nature reactions. Be ahead of those triggers that the market and that the environment is firing off that cause you to act against your best interest. Ditch the herd mentality and differentiate yourself. Remember, trading is not just about mastering the markets, but mostly about mastering yourself, mastering how you think, being different than the rest. Do something different. If you want to be in 10%, don't go behind the 90. So begin by changing your thinking, and then your behavior will change. And if you're unsure where to start, I can help you with that. And if you would like to do it right away, it's the best time to join my Trading Mindset Mastery journey. If you go to tradingmindsetmastery.com, and I will put the link in the description below this episode, you can sign up for just another 2 days with getting a special bonus that's worth over $100. And you will also receive all the future program updates free of charge. And the first update is coming already in January, so it's incredible value. So go check it out. And I hope that this episode inspires you to be more courageous and to dare to be different. If you are a trader, you have already made a statement that you want to be different, that you want to have different lifestyle than most people. So now it's time to go all the way and to pull through and really dare to be different, to get out of the 90% failing group. Fight the odds and not the market. Don't fight the market, fight the odds and decide to become successful. Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share it with your fellow traders. And if you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. I encourage you to visit my website where you can subscribe for weekly trading mindset mastery tips. Just visit aheadcoach.com and you will see a pop-up. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from Ahead Coach. Bye for now.